Claude Code can build you something from absolute nothing. Type a plain language prompt and it writes real running code in seconds. That part's easy, and it's not what today is about. Today is the harder problem, and the one that actually matters for real work. Taking code you didn't write yourself, a design already built, a prototype someone handed you, and turning it into something real your team can actually ship using GitHub and an actual pull request, not just running it on your own laptop. Hey friends, welcome back. Let's get into exactly how that happens. Quick ask before we dive in. If this video is useful to you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Most real work doesn't start from a blank page. It starts with something that already exists, a design a teammate built, a prototype someone else started. And making that run is a different problem entirely. That's today's actual topic. If you haven't seen how a design like this gets built in the first place, there's a companion guide linked right down below that walks through the design side. Claude Code is what turns that design file into working code. Point it at the extracted folder and it reads the structure the same way a new engineer would on day one. Except it doesn't need a week to ramp up. First time you point it at a new folder, you'll get a quick prompt asking you to trust the workspace before it reads, writes, or runs anything inside it. That's not a bug or a glitch, it's a safety check, worth actually reading once instead of clicking past it. Before you paste anything in, check one setting, the model switcher in the chat composer. Sonnet 5 is the default, not Opus, and for a build like this, that default is exactly right. It's built for raw speed and for mapping context across an entire codebase at once. One quick tip, hover your mouse over the project icon next to the chat box. It shows you the exact working directory path, so you know precisely which folder Claude Code is about to build from before you commit to anything. A blank prompt gets you a blank result. A prepared one gets you a working app in minutes instead of hours. I don't write these as one long paragraph. I break the prompt into three distinct parts, and I do it in this order on purpose. What the folder contains, what the finished result should behave like, and which pieces matter most if a trade-off comes up. Skip that last part, and Claude Code will still build something. It just might optimize for the wrong thing when it hits a judgment call you didn't account for. Paste it, hit enter, and let it run. Watch the file tree while it works. Every file that lights up is a piece of that static design turning into logic. Buttons that actually click, forms that actually submit. Here's something that actually happened while I was recording this, and I'm leaving it in on purpose. A few seconds into the build, Claude Code stopped and flagged a mismatch. The prompt asked for the activity feed to pull from a data file, but that data was actually hard-coded inside the design file itself, not sitting where the prompt assumed it would be. Instead of quietly building something broken, it laid out two real options and asked me to pick before writing a single line. I went with creating a new separate data file. The alternative would have worked too, but it meant stuffing project and activity data into a file that's supposed to hold nothing but design tokens, colors, typography, spacing. Keeping those two concerns apart is the cleaner call, even if it takes one extra file to do it. That's the difference between a tool that follows instructions and one that actually reads them. Once I answered, it kept building, and it caught a second thing on its own I hadn't even thought to flag. The budget utilization number in the original design was just a slider you could drag around in the mockup, never wired to anything real. Rather than guess or leave it decorative, Claude Code turned it into an actual computed value pulled from the data file. So changing that number for real updates everything on screen tied to it. This particular build ran about 13 minutes start to finish. Yours might take less or more, depending on whether Claude Code hits a mismatch like this one along the way and has to stop and ask. Quick knowledge note while we are here. This build used a little over 16,000 tokens. Tokens are just the units Claude measures usage in. Think of them as the meter that's running in the background. You don't need to track that number for a project this size, but it's worth knowing it exists once you start building bigger things. 4 files, no framework, nothing to install. And it didn't stop at building. It served the app itself and opened it straight in the browser. This is the moment the design stops being a picture and starts being a product. Before I even touched it, Claude Code ran its own pass to verify the build, checking navigation, filters, search, the new project form, and the activity feeds live timestamps, and confirmed no errors in the console. Click through it yourself and it holds up. Search actually filters, the status pills actually work, and adding a new project updates the count in the header immediately. Now the app matches the design and it actually runs. Running on your machine is one kind of finished, but if this needs to reach a teammate, a client, or production, it can't live in localhost forever. And that's a second handoff, not a different topic. Design became code. Now code needs to become something someone else can pick up. One thing that will save you a string of extra questions. If you haven't already connected Claude Code to GitHub, run auth login once before you start. I hadn't, and that's exactly why what you're about to see took longer than it needed to. One more thing worth knowing before you try this yourself. You'll need an empty repository already created on your end to push into. Claude Code handles everything after that point. It doesn't create the destination for you. I typed one instruction: commit this and open a pull request. And the first thing back wasn't a commit. It was a question. This folder wasn't tracked in Git yet. And Claude Code said so plainly rather than assuming. From there, nearly every step needed explicit approval. Checking Git status, searching for GitHub credentials, reading my Git config. Each one was confirmed twice. Once as a plain language question, once as an actual command requiring permission. More friction than I expected, but the kind that makes it genuinely hard to push something unintentionally. Since I hadn't authenticated yet, I had to pause and log in through GitHub's own CLI, shown here with the login code blurred for privacy. Authentication is the one part of this entire process Claude Code genuinely can't complete on your behalf. Everything else it can attempt independently. Proving you actually own the destination has to come from you. Once authenticated, it caught something worth noting. My GitHub account had a personal email attached, and it offered a private, no-reply alternative before I even raised the concern. A meaningful detail if this repository is ever made public. The repository itself was completely empty, with no branches at all. So Claude Code adjusted its approach. It pushed a single empty commit to establish main, then created a proper feature branch for the actual work. A reasonable adaptation, not the sequence I originally described. From there, it pushed that branch and opened the pull request itself. A title, a description, every changed file, all generated directly from what had actually changed. That description is what the receiving team reads. Nobody has to track you down to ask what happened. I merged it on camera so the full loop would be visible, start to finish. On a real team, that final click usually belongs to whoever's reviewing the work, not the person who built it. But the outcome is the same either way. A real repository with a real merged pull request inside it. From a design file to a running app to a pull request in a teammate's queue. That's the full loop. And none of it needed a development team standing by to happen. And if you need to go back and change something in the design itself, the tweaks panel, the annotations, the hidden controls, that's everything covered right here.